Waiting on God, a lesson I seem to continuously be learning. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tessia, and these are beauty lessons, what God is speaking, teaching, and revealing to me. And today I want to talk to you about waiting on God, the importance of waiting on God, and how God is reminding me that waiting on Him is necessary and vital in my life. So, recently, my husband and I went to Mount Lemmon for my birthday. We went hiking, and I knew I wanted to spend some time journaling and waiting on the Lord, just listening for what He wanted to speak, what He wanted to do, what He wanted to say. And during that time, God spoke to me very clearly. I told you I have good plans for you, Tessia, didn't I? And I was like, that's right. You did tell me you have good plans for me, Lord. And so leading up to that time, I guess there's been a season of discouragement or wrestling with discouragement. If you've seen some of my recent videos, I've talked about struggling with discouragement and how I'm overcoming discouragement. And so it was kind of like a light bulb moment where God was saying, didn't I tell you I had good plans for you? And my response was, duh, God, like, duh, of course you have good plans for me. Not duh to God, but like duh to myself. Like, obviously you told me you had good plans for me. So that was, very blessed and life-giving to receive from the Lord and let Him remind me of His goodness and His faithfulness. And so my husband and I went away for our anniversary because our 4-year anniversary was at the end of May, and we felt like God was leading us to just take a few days away and seek Him, be with each other. And during that time, I was listening to worship music, and actually a devotional came on, which never comes on. Normally it's just music, but I was listening to Pandora actually, and a devotional came on, and it said a quote. There was a quote in it that said, the more we wait on God, the more time we spend waiting on God, the more room He has to work. Or the longer we wait on God, the more room He has to work. So the longer we are, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Waiting on God, often we want to know the answer. We want to know the outcome. We want to know where we're going, how we're getting there, all the details. And sometimes God says, trust me. Like, just take my hand and trust me. I will tell you the next step, but that's all I'm going to tell you. And so you take the next step that I've told you. And once you've done that, I'll tell you the next thing. And we don't like that. We don't like not knowing. There's this uncertainty in not knowing. There's this, uncertainty and insecurity in not knowing. And we just want to know, where are we going, God? Where are we going? And truthfully, the best adventures are filled with twists and turns and unknowns and romance. And, there's a lot of excitement, but you don't know the whole journey from the beginning to the end. And those are the best adventures, to have surprises and to have unexpected things happen that are good. And so, or that are hard that you get through. And then you're like, that was crazy, but that was really good that we survived. So God has an adventure for your life. He wants to take you on an adventure. Something He's been speaking to me is reminding me that He has an adventure for my life. And the unknown is not a horror story anymore. The unknown is exciting, it's joyful, and it's an adventure with Jesus Christ. And so waiting on God is vital in our day-to-day life. We need to have, Isaiah 40:31, those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. I think it's 31. It's like 30 through 31. Those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. So waiting on God is very important. So God spoke this to me. But before we went, so I'm going to backtrack a little. Before we went on our anniversary trip, or the day of, the verse of the day was Jeremiah 31:25. And it says, for I will satisfy the weary soul, and every languishing soul I will replenish. And I thought, what does it mean to languish? And to languish is a verb that means to become weak or feeble, droop, fade, to lose vigor and vitality. And I said, God, that is like how I feel. I am praying all the time for vigor and vitality. I feel like I have lost my vigor and vitality. I'm wiped out. I'm overdone. I'm tired, and I can't seem to get this replenishment. I can't seem to get strength back into my bones and into my will and into my mind. I just feel languished, like totally zapped in certain ways. And God said, I will satisfy the weary soul, and every languishing soul I will replenish. So I kind of clung to that, knowing that God was going to restore me, especially with us going away. I believed he was going to restore me. And so then on our anniversary, actually on our actual anniversary day, I heard that devotional talking about giving God more time, waiting on him longer gives him more room to work. And I thought, okay, God, I need to spend more time waiting on you. We need to spend more time waiting on you. I need there to be space in my life to receive from you, to let your spirit fill me, for you to wash me, for you to renew me, for you to strengthen me. There is so much power that comes from waiting on God. And so I was still feeling weak after all this, but yesterday, actually, we spent some time waiting on God. And after we waited on God, I still felt tired. I still felt like I didn't want to do anything. I felt like, truthfully, I wanted to take a nap. We were in the middle of preparing for our friend's wedding. So there's lots of wedding details that are being taken care of and done and attended to. And sometimes my mind gets overwhelmed with different things, or my mind has been full, I should say. I haven't really been overwhelmed. My mind has been full of wedding details and preparations. And so yesterday we spent time waiting on God, and I was like, God, I just want to rest. Like I just want a period, a season of time where I don't have to make another decision. Someone doesn't need me to help put something together. I don't have to prepare anything. There's not any outreaches. Like I just want some space from all that. And after waiting on God, I felt like God spoke some things to me. I felt like God was present. The time was good. I was like, I want to go read. Like I just need a break. I need some rest before doing some other things. And so I went down to read. And then like 10 minutes later, all of a sudden I had this motivation to go and put the bridesmaids bouquets together, because I'm actually responsible for the flowers. And so I kind of worked myself up to it, went and did it. And I was really blessed by it. By the time I finished, I was like, that wasn't hard. God strengthened me. And this morning, I actually woke up with more strength and vigor and vitality and motivation than I've had in a long time. And I was praising God for that this morning as I was in the kitchen. I thought, thank you, Lord. I thank you, God. I have been praying that you would give me strength and energy. Like, thank you that I'm feeling motivated again. Thank you that I'm feeling strong again. And Isaiah 40:30 just popped into my mind. Those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. And I thought, you know what? You're right, God. Those who wait on you, who trust you, who seek you, who put you first, who give you time, because time is such a valuable commodity. And with social media, with everything online, time is just sucked, pulled, drained, wasted, squandered, disappearing before our eyes when we spend time on social media. I have experienced it, where you get pulled into just wanting to kind of veg out or be distracted basically on social media. And I saw something recently actually that said the devil doesn't have to the spiritual warfare for the devil in America, it's not that hard for him. All he has us so distracted in our phones and in our social media and online that we're not even living in the real world. And I thought that is so true. Like the devil does not have to try very hard to get us derailed here in America. So I felt like God strengthened me after waiting on him. And another thing that was really neat or really cool that happened as God is speaking to me these themes of waiting on him and being restored by him. I can't remember when it was. It was either two or 3 nights ago. I can't remember. But in this last week, because our anniversary was last Friday, so it's been less than a week, or almost a week. And I was messaging someone and I said, what's God been speaking to you lately? A fellow missionary. And they said, I really just want to know the destination. I just want to know where we're going, but I'm waiting on God. And I said, I pray that as you wait on God, it becomes like more important even than knowing the destination. That as you experience God renewing you, restoring you, doing whatever he wants to do in this time before telling you the destination, that you experience him and almost that realize that waiting on him is like the destination. But I didn't say it that eloquently. It was the point I was trying to make, but I kind of said it funnily. I was like, if that makes sense, what I'm trying to say to you. And that night, like literally an hour after messaging this person, I read this Corrie ten Boom book called Don't Wrestle, Just Nestle. And I haven't read it before. Recently picked it up. It was chapter 2. And it talked exactly about that. Corrie ten Boom was in this car, and she preached at a prison in Africa, and then they picked up a person on their ride home. They're driving home from wherever they were going in Africa, and she was like, there's no room for this person in the car. And they were like, Corrie, pray that God brings this man to the Lord. And so the man squeezes in the car, and it's a dangerous car ride, and she was kind of nervous and like, oh gosh, I don't understand what they're saying, but I'm praying for him. And then they start celebrating because he came to the Lord. And then they see a woman and her child by the side of the road later on. And she thought, there's no room in this car. Like, there is no way another body can fit in this car. They pull over, they take the woman and her 2 children into the car with them. And they're like all squeezed in there. So now she's really anxious and nervous. And that woman comes to the Lord as well. And so Corrie gets back to her hotel room. And she says, I was filled with anxiety that whole time, wanting to get to the destination, wanting to arrive, while my fellow, brothers in Christ were more concerned about how they got there. They were more concerned with other people's souls along the way and how they got there rather than where they were going. And at the end, she put it so eloquently. She said, sometimes knowing Jesus is more important than knowing the destination. After all, Jesus said, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. And I thought, I've never totally put that together. I knew that Jesus was like the way to God, but knowing him is the destination almost. Like, knowing the way, experiencing the way is part of reaching the destination, experiencing Jesus Christ, knowing Jesus Christ, having right attitude, right mindset, being close to him, knowing him more intimately is kind of the purpose of the destination, because he is the destination. God is the destination. And so knowing him is more important than where you're going in this life. Being close to him and knowing the way is more important than the destination. And so I thought, God, you are totally trying to speak something to me about waiting on you, trusting you, and knowing you. And so that was just a really big blessing to me to try to communicate exactly what I was trying to say to this person, and then read it later. And it's like, this is exactly what I was talking about. And God is so good like that. He's so faithful like that to do that in our lives. So that's pretty much all I have to share about waiting on God and letting him renew you and restore you. But there is a place in our life to wait on God, to be so separate, to be undistracted, to just give God time, a sacrifice of time, where you say, God, I am just going to sit and be in your presence for 30 minutes. Whether you say one thing to me, 20 things to me, nothing to me, I'm gonna give this time to you. I want to be with you. I want to encounter you. I'm giving you a sacrifice of my time. And in this world, that is exactly what the devil doesn't want you to do. He doesn't want you to give God a sacrifice of your time. He doesn't want you to give God the time of day, because the longer you wait on God, the more room he has to work in your life. And Satan knows that, and Satan doesn't want that. He doesn't want your thinking renewed, your strength restored, your life set aright in God, because then you're a threat to him. So if I could encourage you to do anything, wait on God. Be still and know that I am God. That requires you being still. That requires you not being active in your body, not being active in your mind, not being active in, all these other things that we do. We think I'll take a walk and spend time with God. That's great. But, that doesn't substitute sitting still and waiting on God. I'll, worship God while I drive. Yes, but you are still moving and making choices, and you can't totally be still and let God focus your mind, focus your heart and your attention on him, and say to you what he wants to say to you. If you're having a conversation with someone, kind of a heavier conversation even, or a serious conversation, you typically don't want to be driving. You want to stop and, get positioned properly, sit down. Sometimes people say on the phone, there's that kind of saying like, are you sitting down? I'm about to tell you something that's going to impact you. Are you sitting down? So there's something about being still and letting God's Spirit speak to us, reveal himself to us, integrate us with him. We're supposed to be one with Christ, one with God, be integrated into his presence. There's something about being still and waiting on God. Even people in relationships on this earth, when they're having serious or even maybe I should say sincere conversations with one another, because it doesn't have to be heavy. Young lovers have very sincere conversations with one another, but they both stop and they come together and they focus and fix their attention on one another only. And they say, you are important. You are valuable. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your heart. I want to hear your mind. And they be still. They don't do all these other things trying to connect with this person. So the same is true with God. We need to slow down and be still in his presence and let him renew us, restore us, and strengthen us. It's not just about telling yourself the truths of the Bible over and over and over again. It's about experiencing the God of the Bible and letting him do the work in you that he wants to do. It's not you working to be a better Christian. It's you submitting and surrendering to the Spirit of God and his work in your life. So I pray this video blesses you. I pray it encourages you. I pray that you sit still before the Lord this week and you wait on him. Until next time. Bye.